What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the show. So we're going to take a look and a listen to Representative Jayapal. She is the Progressive Caucus chair, and so she carries a lot of weight. She's going to be talking about the first infrastructure bill and the second infrastructure bill and how they plan to proceed in the House. So that's what we're going to talk about today. But first off, on this channel, we talk about news that matters. If that sounds like something interesting to you, please subscribe to the channel and hit that little bell notification. That way you'll get notified anytime we put out a video. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look and a listen to Representative Jayapal. Here we go.
Congresswoman Jayapal, there is frustration breaking out in the Congress with Senator Sanders, with other members, and right here at this desk that I'm sitting at, in trying to figure out what is going on with Senator Manchin and Senator Sinema. Do you have any better insight into this?
Well, Lawrence, it's great to see you. And I will just start by saying the position of the Congressional Progressive Caucus, we are a 96-member strong caucus.
Now, that's important. There are 96 Progressive Caucus members, so they carry a lot of weight in the House, and they can move a vote in the House. So that's why Speaker Pelosi is paying so much attention and trying to rally the troops when it comes to this first infrastructure bill, because if you have 96 members, that goes a long way and carries a lot of power. So Representative Jayapal, being the chairperson, she carries a lot of weight when it comes to moving things forward.
Has been for 3.5 months that we are not going to move one piece of the president's agenda without the much bigger piece of the president's agenda. And I just wanted to.
And so it's clear there. She's saying, look, if we're not going to do the first infrastructure bill without the second infrastructure bill, she's clearly saying that. So they're going to have to figure something out. This Thursday vote that we're hearing about, I don't know if it's going to happen, because if you have 96 members, or at least some of those 96 members, you only need 3 members from the Progressive Caucus in order to vote the bill down. But if they're saying, look, we're not doing the first infrastructure bill without the second infrastructure bill, and this language has not changed, Representative Jayapal has not changed her position on this, something's going to have to happen in order for us to see a vote on Thursday, because as of right now, it doesn't look like there's going to be a vote on Thursday.
Take you back just for a moment to 5 months ago, August 28th, 2021. What happened on that night, Lawrence, is President Biden came out of the White House. He went down Pennsylvania Avenue. He came to the Capitol and he delivered a speech. He delivered a speech to Congress. I happened to be one of the few that was invited to that speech because it was COVID times and not all of us could go. I was sitting towards the back of that chamber, and I listened to this newly elected Democratic president with a Democratic House majority and a Democratic Senate majority in that chamber, not all of us, but representative of us, listen to the President of the United States lay out an agenda. That agenda was for child care for everyone. It was for paid leave. It was for universal community college. It was for getting lead out of waters and having clean water everywhere, no matter what zip code you live in. It was for health care, lowering prescription drug prices. It was for housing, affordable housing to house the unhoused people. And yes, it was also for roads and bridges. Now, here we are today, and people want to frame this as progressives versus moderates. But let me just tell you, 96% of Democrats in the House and the Senate support the president's agenda, which is the Build Back Better agenda. And what we know is that 4% of members of the House and the Senate are not supporting the president's agenda, the Democratic agenda, and want to make some changes. Well, we've been saying for some time, we've put our vision out there. It is the president's agenda. It's not some crazy, out there left-wing agenda. It is the president's agenda that we are fighting to deliver to the people. And so we still have had no interaction, no negotiation with Senators Manchin and Sinema on what is it that they don't, what is it that they do like? We know what they don't like. That's been made quite clear over and over again. But what do they want to do of the Democratic agenda, the president's agenda? We're waiting for that. But until then, Lawrence, House progressives are very clear. We are not going to leave behind women. We are not going to leave behind people who need housing. We are not going to leave behind climate change, one of the most important issues that we are facing today. And the president is going to have to go to COP26 in just a little bit And he's going to have to explain, if we leave behind climate, why the United States feels like we can make any kind of an agreement with the rest of the world or force the rest of the world to address climate change as a real issue. So we're not leaving that behind. And that's why we can't vote for the bipartisan infrastructure bill until we pass the Build Back Better Act, which is 70% or more of the president's agenda.
Okay, here's my theory about what the game is on the Sinema Manchin side of this. That certainly Senator Sinema, who says nothing about what she wants is going on, is that they or she or both of them are trying to drag out this negotiation to the point where Speaker Pelosi does move forward and ask you all to vote on the bipartisan bill that the Senate's already voted on, so that their bill that they supported in the Senate, they watch that pass in the House. And only after that do they, for the first time ever, say something concrete in a negotiation with President Biden. Only after their bill that they want passed is passed. And then they feel they will be in a much stronger position to chip away at the legislation that you're ready to vote for.
That's exactly right. And that's why we do not have the votes in the House for the bipartisan infrastructure bill. And as Senator Warren said, this was a deal that the senators made that we were going to move both pieces together. It's something that we've all been saying for some time. It was the deal that was made. And
that's really interesting, too, though, that when the senators, and this is true because I was watching it just like everyone else, you didn't hear Senator Manchin and Senator Sinema really come up and say too much when the bipartisan bill was going through, when they were trying to negotiate that. You didn't hear them talking about this second infrastructure bill and how they would oppose it. And we knew the amount at the very end of that bipartisan bill, when they were voting on that bipartisan bill. Just prior to that, we knew that they were looking at actually at that point it was a $6 trillion bill, and then it dropped down to $3.5 trillion. You didn't hear Senator Manchin and Senator Sinema saying, "Look, that's too much money. We don't want to move forward with that." You just heard them talking about the bipartisan bill, and then there was still talk at that time that they wanted to do both bills simultaneously, and you didn't hear the opposition from Senator Manchin and Senator Sinema at that time. But now you're hearing it. So I think, yeah, that their strategy, and they I think they hit the nail on the head. Their strategy is not to say anything right now as far as a plan, and then once the first infrastructure bill, that bipartisan bill, gets passed, then they'll start coming out and chipping away at that $3.5 trillion bill.
Unfortunately, Lawrence, we are now in the verify stage. This isn't about trust. This is about verify. And the only way to verify is to pass the reconciliation bill first, as was articulated. And then we will happily come back and vote for the infrastructure bill. And I'll tell you, Lawrence, not every one of my members likes that infrastructure bill. Some of them really believe that, and I happen to be a part of this, that there are actually bad things in this bill that hurt us on climate change. But you know what? Every one of the Progressive Caucus members has said, I understand I play on the same team as the Democratic Party and the Democratic president, and we will vote for that bill, even though we don't like it. We will vote for it, but we want the reconciliation bill first. And then we will go and we will happily do our duty of voting for the rest of the president's agenda, which is the small piece that is in the infrastructure bill.
Okay, so that was Representative Jayapal. And a lot of what she says, I mean, I have to agree with what she's saying when it comes to doing both bills at the same time. And ultimately what I wanted, and I talked about this months ago, I wanted one large bill. The fact that they split these bills up and they entertain this whole bipartisan first infrastructure bill, I think that's where they made the mistake, because now you do have these two bills, and now you have this fight between the progressives and the moderates in the Democratic Party. And ultimately, this is Biden's agenda. So you should be moving forward with Biden's agenda. If he is the leader of the Democratic Party and you are representatives of the Democratic Party, you should be going with what the president wants. And at this point, the president has no problem with the $3.5 trillion infrastructure bill. He has no problem with the bipartisan $1.2 trillion bill. So that's what you should be focused on. Let's get this $3.5 trillion bill on paper and know exactly what's in it, and find out what's going on with Senator Manchin and Senator Sinema. What do you guys want? What's your top line number? Get all that information on the table, and then move forward with both bills. So that's what we're going to be looking at in the next couple of days. I'm telling you, it looks like progressives are going to stop this first infrastructure bill. So it doesn't look like there's going to be a vote on Thursday, or if there is a vote, they're not going to vote for this first infrastructure bill unless there's some real big concessions made in the next couple of days. So I want to know what you guys think about all this. Let me know down below. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe for more, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye.